some games go far beyond just passing the time. They completely pull you in. You turn on the console planning to play for a few minutes, and before you know it, time has simply vanished. These are experiences that grab you from the very beginning and make it almost impossible to put the controller down. Get ready to discover 15 extremely addictive games that are absolutely worth paying for. 1. Metro Exodus. Let's talk about a game that makes misery feel incredibly addictive. Metro Exodus is all about the sensation of survival. I remember the first time I stepped out of the tunnels into the Volga, the sheer scale of a post-nuclear Russia hitting me at once. You aren't just playing a shooter, you're managing your air, your light, and your sanity. Every time I had to manually wipe the mud off my gas mask or pump my pneumatic rifle, I felt more locked into Artyom's world. The gameplay is crunchy and deliberate. It's not about running and gunning, it's about the memoria of that one bullet you saved that ended up saving your life 10 minutes later. The relationship between Artyom and Anna gives the story a massive impacto emocional that I didn't expect from a gritty FPS. You aren't just fighting mutants, you're fighting for a home. The only thing that might bug you is the voice acting can be a bit stiff sometimes, but the atmosphere is so thick you could cut it with a combat knife. It's the kind of game where you say, I'll just reach the next station, and suddenly it's 3 a.m. This is where the game changed for me, when the Aurora train became more than just a hub. It became a character I wanted to protect. It's worth every cent for the immersion alone. 2. Arc Raiders. Now, this is a fresh one that really caught me off guard. Arc Raiders takes that extraction loop and gives it a gorgeous retro sci-fi coat of paint. The sensation of dropping into a world crawling with massive, spindly machines is terrifying, but so exhilarating. It's all about the tension. You're scavenging for scrap, trying to avoid these high-tech threats, and the second you find a rare piece of loot, your heart starts racing. The gameplay's super fluid, third-person shooting that feels snappy and responsive, but the real addiction comes from the risk versus reward. Do you push deeper for better gear, or do you bail now? I didn't expect this moment, but I found myself getting genuinely attached to my character's progression. Every successful extract builds a memory of a narrow escape that keeps you coming back for just one more run. The teamwork aspect is huge here too. When you and your buddies take down a massive arc machine together, the impacto emocional of that shared victory is peak gaming. It's stylish, it's intense, and it's got that loop that just eats your time. If you like high-stakes survival with a killer aesthetic, this is a no-brainer. Tormented Souls 2. For my fellow horror fans, Tormented Souls 2 is a twisted love letter to the golden age of survival horror. It brings back that sensation of dread that I haven't felt since the original Resident Evil or Silent Hill. We're talking fixed camera angles, mind-bending puzzles, and limited resources. Playing as Carolyn Walker again feels like reconnecting with an old friend who's gone through hell. The gameplay is a total throwback, but it feels modernized in all the right ways. The impacto emocional comes from the vulnerability. You aren't a superhero, you're a person in a nightmare, and the music alone is enough to make your skin crawl. I have a vivid memory of being stuck on a puzzle in a dark hallway while I could hear something breathing just out of frame. It was pure, unfiltered tension. That's when I realized something was different. This game doesn't hold your hand, it respects your intelligence. Sometimes the puzzles can be a bit too obscure, forcing you to really think outside the box, but that's part of the charm. It's a slow burn addiction where you're constantly saying, I'll just see what's behind this door, and then you're hooked for another hour. It's a 10 out of 10 for atmosphere.
4. The Quarry. If you want a game that feels like a $100 million horror movie you can actually control, The Quarry is it. The sensation of being responsible for the lives of 9 teenage counselors is a heavy burden, but man, it's fun. The graphics are so realistic, it's almost creepy. The facial animations convey every ounce of fear and hesitation. It's the ultimate party game, even if you're playing it alone. The gameplay is simple, mostly choices and quick time events, but the impacto emocional of accidentally getting one of your favorite characters killed because of a split-second decision is devastating. Every choice builds a unique memory of your version of the story. I remember one playthrough where I tried to be the hero and ended up making things 10 times worse. I didn't expect this moment, but the branching paths are so deep, I ended up playing it 3 times back to back. It can be a bit movie-heavy with less direct control than some people like, but the writing and the performances, shout out to Ted Raimi, are top tier. It's the perfect popcorn game that keeps you addicted to seeing what if I had chosen differently. It's absolutely worth the full price for the sheer replayability and the cinematic thrills. 5. Death Stranding 2 on the Beach. I know the first one was polarizing, but Death Stranding 2 takes that walking simulator meme and turns it into a full-blown addiction. The sensation of navigating these new alien landscapes is just hypnotic. You play as Sam again, but the world feels more reactive, more dangerous, and honestly, more beautiful. There's this weird memoria I have of just sitting by a futuristic campfire while the rain fell, feeling a sense of peace I rarely get in games. The gameplay refined the traversal so much that every step feels like a puzzle you actually want to solve. But the real hook is the impacto emocional of the story. It's Kojima at his most unhinged, but also his most heartfelt. That's when I realized something was different, when I stopped caring about the cargo and started caring about the connections I was making across this broken world. It's a long game, and yeah, it's weird as hell, but the production value is insane. It's a literal work of art you can play. If you buy this game, you won't regret it, because it offers a vibe that no other developer even dares to try. It's a slow burn addiction that rewards your patience with moments that will stay with you forever. 6. Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth. If you want a game that offers literal hundreds of hours of content without ever getting boring, this is the one. Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth is just pure, unadulterated fun. Moving the setting to Hawaii was a genius move. The sensation of sun-soaked streets combined with that classic Yakuza grit is a killer combo. You've got Ichiban, who is basically a human golden retriever, and Kiryu, the legend himself, teaming up. The gameplay is a turn-based masterpiece. It's flashy, it's tactical, and it's hilarious. I have a vivid memoria of summoning a literal crawfish to help me in a street brawl. It shouldn't work, but it does. But don't let the humor fool you. The impacto emotional of Kiryu's personal journey in this game is heavy. I didn't expect this moment, but I actually found myself tearing up during some of the Lifelinks side quests. Between the main story, the Dondoko Island Animal Crossing style minigame, and the Sujimon battles, this game will steal your entire month. This is where the game changed for me, when I realized it wasn't just a sequel, it was a celebration of the entire series. It's worth every single dollar for the sheer amount of soul poured into it. Number 7. Alan Wake Remastered. Before you dive into the sequel, you have to experience where the nightmare started. Alan Wake Remastered is the definition of atmosphere. The sensation of being in Bright Falls with the fog rolling over the lake and the shadows whispering in the woods is terrifyingly good. You're a writer whose own horror novel is coming to life, and the way the story plays with light and dark is just brilliant. The gameplay is all about that flashlight. Burning the darkness off an enemy before you can shoot them creates a rhythmic tension that never gets old. The impacto emocional comes from Alan's desperation to find his wife, Alice. Every manuscript page you find builds a memory of a mystery that you just have to solve. That's when I realized something was different, when I started paying more attention to the TV shows and radio broadcasts than the actual combat. The movement can feel a little bit stiff by modern standards, but the narrative pacing is 10 out of 10. It feels like playing through a Stephen King novel. It's a tight, focused addiction that keeps you glued to the screen until the final credits roll. It's a masterpiece of psychological action.
8. Astro Bot. I'm calling it right now. Astro Bot is pure gaming magic. It's the kind of game that reminds you why you fell in love with this hobby in the first place. The sensation of playing this is just constant, bubbling joy. Every single level is packed with wow moments that utilize the DualSense controller in ways you've never felt before. You can literally feel the different textures of the ground through the haptics. The gameplay is platforming perfection. It's creative, it's colorful, and it's surprisingly challenging in the later stages. But the real impacto emocional comes from the nostalgia. Rescuing bots dressed as classic PlayStation characters creates a memory overload for anyone who's been around since the PS1 days. I didn't expect this moment, but seeing a certain character from my childhood show up made me grin like a kid again. It's not just a kid's game, it's a masterclass in game design. It's short-ish compared to a 100-hour RPG, but every second is high-quality, handcrafted fun. Here, you feel that your money was worth it because the polish is legendary. It's an essential experience for anyone who owns a console. 9. Donkey Kong Bananza. Man, I'm telling you, Donkey Kong Bananza is the shot of adrenaline the platforming genre needed. The sensation of weight and momentum when you're swinging through the jungle is just, it's perfect. It's got that classic, tough-as-nails Nintendo challenge, but with a modern flow that makes you want to keep trying that one level for 2 hours. I have a vivid memoria of finally nailing a rocket barrel sequence that had me sweating. It's pure dopamine. The gameplay is all about rhythm. When you get into the flow state, jumping off enemies and rolling through obstacles, it feels like a dance. But the impacto emotional comes from the personality. The animations, the music, the way DK and Diddy interact. It's just full of heart. That's when I realized something was different, when I stopped playing just to beat the level and started playing just to see what crazy environmental detail they'd throw at me next. It's vibrant, it's loud, and it's incredibly polished. If you buy this game, you won't regret it, because it's the kind of fun that works for everyone. It's a 10 out of 10 challenge that respects your skill and rewards your persistence with some of the most creative levels I've ever seen. Number 10, Doom: The Dark Ages. Going from high-speed platforming to the sheer heavy metal brutality of Doom: The Dark Ages is a trip. This isn't just a sequel, it's a total shift in the sensation of the combat. You're the Doomslayer, but in a medieval dark fantasy setting. The addition of the shield saw and the flail changes everything. Instead of just dodging, you're parrying fireballs and then shredding demons in close quarters. It's visceral, it's loud, and it's glorious. The gameplay feels more grounded and heavy than the previous games, which I actually love. It feels like you're a walking tank. I'll never forget the memory of piloting an Atlan, a giant mech, and just pulverizing a skyscraper-sized demon. The impact emotional here is just that feeling of being an absolute legend. I didn't expect this moment, but seeing the scale of the battlefields in this game actually made my jaw drop. The soundtrack is, as always, a banger that keeps your blood pumping. This is the type of game that justifies the price because the production value is just through the roof. It's a power trip that never lets up, and the new weapons are some of the most satisfying toys I've ever used in an FPS. (11) Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. If you want a game that feels like a literal time machine, this is the one.
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 captures the sensation of the Middle Ages like no other. You're Henry, a guy who starts as a total nobody, and watching him grow into a warrior is so rewarding. You have to eat, you have to wash your clothes so people don't think you're a peasant, and the combat is crunchy and realistic. The gameplay is famously deep. You can't just mash buttons, you have to learn the art of the sword. The memoria of my first successful duel in a muddy town square is something I'll never forget. I felt like I'd actually earned that victory. The impacto emocional comes from Henry's personal journey of revenge and friendship. That's when I realized something was different, when I found myself genuinely caring about the politics of 15th century Bohemia because I was so immersed in the world. It can be a bit hardcore for some, but that's the beauty of it. It doesn't hold your hand. Here, you feel that your money was worth it because the attention to historical detail is staggering. It's a massive, gritty, and deeply soulful RPG that will steal your life. 12. Clair Obscur, Expedition 33. To wrap up this batch, we have Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and man, this game is a literal work of art. The sensation of the world is like walking through a high-end French painting. You're part of a doomed expedition trying to stop the paintress before she wipes out the last of humanity. It's surreal, it's beautiful, and it's profoundly sad. The gameplay is a genius evolution of turn-based combat. It's reactive. You have to time your dodges and parries in real time, which keeps you totally locked into every fight. The impacto emocional comes from the fact that your characters know they're on a suicide mission. I didn't expect this moment, but the focus on the finality of their journey hit me way harder than I thought it would. The world design is so original that it makes every other fantasy game look a bit boring. It's a bit of a slow burn at first, and the mechanics take a minute to master, but once it clicks, it's addictive. This is the kind of game you don't forget because it takes a genre we know and turns it into something completely fresh and haunting. Number 13, Devil May Cry 5. If you want to talk about pure addiction, you have to talk about Devil May Cry 5. This game is a dopamine factory. The sensation of landing a smokin' sexy style combo while the music swells in the background is a high that few other games can provide. You've got 3 different characters, Dante, Nero, and V, and each one feels like a completely different game. Dante's weapon switching alone is a masterpiece of mechanical depth. The gameplay is all about expression. It's not just about winning, it's about winning with flair. I have this vivid memoria of finally mastering Nero's exceed timing, where you rev your sword like a motorcycle engine mid-swing. It just makes every hit feel so impactful. The impacto emocional comes from seeing this legendary family drama finally reach a boiling point. This is where the game changed for me, when I realized the easy mode was just the tutorial, and the real game starts when you begin to truly master the mechanics. It's stylish, it's loud, and it's unapologetically video gamey. If you buy this game, you won't regret it, because the skill ceiling is sky high. You'll find yourself replaying missions just to get that SSS rank, and before you know it, dawn is breaking. It's the king of character action games. Number 14, S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, Heart of Chornobyl. Now let's go from the flashy lights of DMC to the bleak, terrifying beauty of the zone. S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 is a game that hates you, and that's why it's so addictive. The sensation of walking through the Chornobyl exclusion zone, with your Geiger counter ticking and an anomaly shimmering in the distance, is pure, unadulterated dread. You aren't the hero. You're just another guy trying to survive a world that has gone completely wrong. The gameplay is unforgiving. You have to manage your radiation, your hunger, and your equipment. One wrong step into a gravitational anomaly and you're toast. But the memoria of finding a rare artifact after a desperate shootout in a thunderstorm is what keeps you coming back. The impacto emocional hits you through the atmosphere. The loneliness of the zone is so thick you can feel it. That's when I realized something was different, when I stopped seeing the monsters as the main threat and started realizing the environment itself was my biggest enemy. It's a massive, open-world survival horror that respects your intelligence and your bravery. Here, you feel that your money was worth it because the immersion is unparalleled. It's a dark, gritty, and deeply atmospheric journey that will absolutely steal your life if you let it. 15. Dying Light: The Beast. Closing out the list is the return to form for one of the best parkour franchises out there. Dying Light: The Beast brings back Kyle Crane, and man, the sensation of being back in his shoes is incredible. This isn't just a zombie game, it's a game about movement. Scaling a forest of trees or the ruins of an industrial zone while the sun is setting creates this frantic, heart-pounding tension, because when the night falls, the hunters become the hunted. The gameplay adds a new beast mechanic that lets you unleash primal power, but the core is still that satisfying parkour combat hybrid. I have a vivid memory of a nighttime chase where I was literally jumping over rooftops with seconds to spare before a volatile caught me. The impacto emotional comes from Crane's struggle with his own humanity after everything he's been through. I didn't expect this moment, but the environmental storytelling in the new Castor Woods region is some of the best the series has ever seen. It's faster, scarier, and more focused than Dying Light 2. This is the kind of game you don't forget, because that day-night cycle creates a loop that is impossible to quit. You spend the day feeling like a king and the night feeling like prey. It's a 10 out of 10 finish to our list and worth every penny for the adrenaline alone. And that's the list, guys. 15 games that are so addictive, they'll make you forget what day of the week it is. These aren't just good games, they're experiences that justify every cent of their price tag because they give you something you can't get anywhere else. Total immersion. But hey, addiction is a personal thing in gaming. Which one of these titles is the one that stole the most hours from you? Or is there a game that's so addictive it should have been on this list? Let me know in the comments. I love reading your horror stories of lost sleep.